Hello and welcome to my unboxing and first look at the Forge World Horus Heresy Traitor Librarian in Cataphractii Terminator armour. This model is like an event exclusive. It will cost you £26. I was on the fence about getting him, but since I got him for a Patreon subscriber, I thought I might as well just get one myself. So he's a Traitor Librarian in Cataphractii armour. There were librarians in the Horus Heresy, they just weren't as kind of widespread as in 40k as they are now. So we'll just unbox this. Comes in this clamshell. It will need washing, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know. Just to get rid of all the resin and stuff. Now, it doesn't give you any instructions, it's just this. So, yeah, good luck in putting this together. It's quite easy to put together, let's face it. It's not a Warlord Titan, is it? But still, always a pleasure to get a model with some instructions to show you how to build it. So, £26, it's a fair bit of money, but normally characters or single miniatures that Forge World do in resin are between £20 and £30 or so. It comes on this 40mm base. Let's have a little look at him. Let's zoom in at some of the parts. So this is him exactly. So this is him up close. Loads of detail already. Really anguished looking face there, an anguished expression. Something's bubbling up from his forehead maybe. You can see his teeth and his tongue in there. I mean, we can really zoom in far, guys, with this camera. Okay, not that far, but we can certainly look at that. Incredible. Lots of detail in there, and they've even hidden some skulls there, and they've hidden some skulls here. And he's got a little pouch, and he's got some scrolls. He's got some more pouches, some maps. It is a power plant for the Cataphractii Terminator armour. Lots of presents. Really tells a story, this character. Let's just zoom out a bit and look at the other parts. So this is kind of like the Daemon coming out of his hand. Really interesting the way that they've done this. It's I'm not sure about the colour scheme. I'm not sure how it sort of fades from blue to yellow. I might do it a bit differently, but yeah, it's interesting. I like this kind of action pose. Lots of detail in there. It'd be great for shadowing. I'd kind of want to do it in like a Nagash kind of greeny colour, like that kind of spirit colour, if I was going to do it. But we'll see. So lots of detail there for that piece. And then you've just got your standard Cataphractii armour pieces and a little bit of the shoulders and forearms. Spiky bits on both sides for them, and some holes to put them in. You get this. Don't know what this rod is for. It's interesting. I think there's two rods, so that must be just to protect the parts maybe. You've got a part of the demon claw and a book, and then another claw for the actual power weapon itself. But the book has got some chains around it. Can't see a lock on the chain, so it's just chained. You've got his axe, his chain axe, and you've got some more parts for the spirit. Some nice detailing on the axe, skull, and some glyphs, I think, and some studs on the grip. And then you've got part of his weathered cloak. Really cool cloak. Surprised me because there's all pitting and stuff in it, and it's tattered. I like it if, you know, when they do this to some of the Chaos models, they add some weathering to cloaks, because yeah, they wouldn't have all shiny nice cloaks, would they? But yeah, so that's the cloak, and they are all the pieces. What I'm going to do now is obviously go away, wash the model completely, leave it in soak, get rid of all the releasing agent, and build him, and then review him and show you some size comparisons and go through all the rules, if I can find them in one of my Horus Heresy books. Hello and welcome to my review of the Chaos Sorcerer in Cataphractii Terminator armour. It's an event exclusive. or Forge World exclusive model. I think it cost me, and obviously you can't go on the website and find out because you have to go into the Forge World HQ or go to one of the events to pick this guy up. So I'll try and do this model justice with this review. Now, first of all, the model is super easy to put together. Really, really easy. Didn't have any issues other than maybe the arm of the kind of manifested demon. Everything else went together like a dream. You might have some issues with this cloak at the back, but I think I've done a good job and, you know, pushed it against his leg as it should be. I don't know whether this arm is needed. It looks cool even without the arm, but I just thought I'd put his arm on there because it does look a bit odd, him only having one arm and a claw, but oh well. I love these wisps coming out of this sorcerer's lightning clawed gauntlet. Quite a big model. I'll go through some size comparisons in a moment with some other Imperial models. Definitely very chaos looking. He's got skulls on there. He's got some skulls there on his Cataphractii armour. Let me just zoom in and enhance for the detail. Look at his face, so much emotion, so much anger in there. As I say, there's the skulls. He's got some icons. More of a Chaos Undivided than a particular Legion. Really do like the Cataphractii armour though. Big Terminator armour, and I do like his. Looks like a chain axe, but you know, there's no actual individual teeth. I mean, there's individual teeth, but there's no kind of, you know, it doesn't look thick enough to house the teeth. The teeth are flush with the rest of the axe, so I'm going to just call it out and say it's a force axe more than anything. Got this big book here, probably one of the Horus Heresy books there, because it's got the metal edges and it's pretty thick. I do like the demon coming out of his hand. Really awesome model. The paint job on the box and things doesn't really do it justice in my opinion. I much prefer other people's paint jobs that they've done if you go and hunt him out on the internet. But yeah, stunning model, lots of detail, really cool. Love this kind of action pose that he's going for. Fantastic addition to the force. What am I going to use him for though, guys? Am I going to use him for Imperium, or am I going to use him for Death Guard, or, you know, Black Legion? I think I'm definitely going to use him for Death Guard. I think. Now, it's up to you what you want to use him as. I've looked in a couple of the books, and you could potentially use him as a Legion Centurion in Cataphractii Terminator armour as a Librarian Consul. If you really want, there is that option, because he can take his single lightning claw, and obviously he can technically have a heavy chainsword or just have it as a power weapon. But of course, if you're using him as a Legion Librarian, then of course you replace a chainsword or combat blade with a force weapon. A force sword, force axe, force stave may be chosen. So you have him with that, and then you can have him with the lightning claw too. So that's one way to have him in Horus Heresy as a Legion Centurion. Personally though, I don't think I'd use him as a loyalist. I'd use him as a traitor consul. So that's why I think I'm going to go down the 8th edition route and have him as a Chaos Lord in Terminator armour. Use him in the 8th edition Death Guard Codex, because it just says Terminator armour. It's cool that you know, and it adds to the feel of that army with their sort of Mark III iron armour, to have one of these old Nurgle Chaos Lords in the Cataphractii armour. So you can have him as a Chaos Lord, but I think as a Chaos Lord for the Death Guard, you'd want to see a few of the Nurgle kind of gifts, as they were, not gifts, but gifts. You know, they bestow some gifts on them, you know, like the tentacles and the teeth and the bones and the spikes and all those kind of things. So I'd probably use him as a sorcerer in Terminator armour, which is quite pricey at power points cost of an 8, but it does give him a 5+ invulnerable save, and it does allow him to teleport. And as such, I know it's a bit biased, but I will be going through his 8th edition Death Guard Sorcerer and Terminator armour rules in a moment, after I've done some size comparisons, because they're long overdue. Let's have a look at Not something else in Terminator armour, but another console, I suppose. A Legion console Vigilator. As you can see, this model is massive compared to the Vigilator. Just normal standard Space Marine. That Cataphractii armour in the resin is huge. Maybe something else that floats your boat is probably an aggressor, or maybe not. Just show you him compared to an aggressor. If I can get the size right. The aggressor is a little bit bigger, kind of height-wise. Only a little bit, though. So that just goes to show you how big this model really is. And of course, with that demon flowing out of his hand is much more imposing. Okay, some other models. Maybe the Vigilator, I could have just used this standard Space Marine. But yeah, he definitely is taller than the Space Marine. Much, much bigger. A lot of bulk going on. And next to an Intercessor. I know I've shown an aggressor, but I might as well just show the Intercessor too. He's sort of a similar height to the Intercessor model wise, but yeah, a lot more bulk going on here with the Sorcerer. Okay, hope those size comparisons have helped. Final little comparison I want to make is just with another model on a 40mm base, on Terminator base, is the Biologist Putrefier. Similar kind of size wise. I think he would go well in a Death Guard army anyway, as like a little sorcerer in Chaos Terminator armour. Works quite well, I think, sort of size wise, and you know, specific unit wise. You could have him leading your armies, but I thought I'd just do that size comparison just because the Putrefier was there. Okay, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of his rules, and I've chosen the Death Guard Codex, the 8th edition, and I've picked him as a sorcerer in Terminator armour. He's a power points cost of an 8, an HQ choice, and a match play points cost of 140 points. He's armed with a force stave and combi bolter. No real reason why you don't have to replace anything else. I mean, yeah, technically you could replace that combi bolter with the lightning claw that he's got on there. His stat line reads movement of 5 inches, so it's pretty slow. You know, as slow as the normal Chaos Lord and Terminator armour, and slower than the ones without Terminator armour. Weapon skill is 3+, ballistic skill is 3+, so that's both worse than the Chaos Lord. His strength is 4, toughness 4, he's got 5 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 2+. So again, he's got 1 less wound than a normal Chaos Lord, and 1 less attack with 3. His Force Axe, which I could technically say he's got there, is a melee weapon. It's a strength +1, so that's strength 5, AP -2, and a damage D3. Pretty good, nothing to write home about. War gear options, he can replace his combi bolter with 1 item from the combi weapons or Terminator melee weapons list, and he can replace his force stave with a force axe, force sword, or an item from the Terminator melee weapons list. Abilities: Death to the False Emperor, Terminator armour, that gives him a 5+ invulnerable save, teleport strike. During deployment, you can set up this model in a teleportarium chamber instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of any of your movement phases, it can teleport into battle and set it up anywhere that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So he's a Psyker. This model can attempt to manifest 2 psychic powers in each friendly psychic phase and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each enemy psychic phase. It knows Smite psychic power and 2 psychic powers from the Contagion discipline. Keywords: Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, Death Guard, Character Infantry, Terminator, Psyker, and Sorcerer. So he's similar to the normal Sorcerer. He's obviously more points. He's got 1 more wound and a better save, and he gets that invulnerable save. In my opinion, definitely worth it to give him the best survivability as possible, and he can deep strike and cause a bit of mischief. Anyway, what do you guys think of this Forge World model? Do you use them in your Death Guard army? Do you use them in your normal Chaos army? Or do you just strictly keep him in Horus Heresy? And if so, what do you use him as? It'd be great to read all your comments. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Papa bless.